Now, you might be thinking, JR, why on earth would I want to ditch the city and live like a wild animal? Well, let me tell you, there's a certain kind of freedom that comes with being self-sufficient. No more sky-high taxes, no more government telling you what to do. Just you, nature, and the sweet taste of independence. Plus, let's not forget about the cost savings. Living off-grid means lower bills, less reliance on expensive utilities, and more money in your pocket to spend on things that really matter, like a lifetime supply of bug spray or a top-of-the-line water filtration system. So if you're ready to ditch the rat race and embrace a simpler, more sustainable way of life, then buckle up, because we're about to embark on a journey into the wild world of off-grid living. Let's get to it. First things first, if we're going to survive out here in the wilderness of off-grid living, we need a reliable source of power. And no, I'm not talking about rubbing two sticks together. We need something a little more electrifying. Think of solar panels as your own personal power plant, harnessing the sun's energy to keep your lights on, your fridge cold, and your devices charged. No more relying on the grid, no more worrying about power outages. With solar panels, you're in control. Now, when it comes to choosing solar panels, you want to make sure you get the right size and type for your needs. Do your research, talk to the experts, and don't be afraid to invest in quality. Remember, this is an investment in your independence. You can find solar panels at specialized retailers, online marketplaces, and even some home improvement stores. And hey, if you're feeling really ambitious, you can even try building your own. Just make sure you know what you're doing, or you might end up with a nasty shock, and not the good kind. Out here in the wild, clean water is as precious as a winning lottery ticket. It's essential for survival, and trusting that murky pond water just won't cut it. That's why a reliable water filtration system is at the top of our off-grid essentials list. Now, you might be tempted to go all out and start sucking water out of tree roots, but trust me, a good water filtration system is a lot less messy and a lot more reliable. These systems use a combination of filters and purification methods to remove harmful bacteria, viruses, and other contaminants, leaving you with crystal clear, drinkable water. There are a bunch of different types of water filtration systems out there, from simple gravity filters to more complex reverse osmosis systems. The best one for you will depend on your specific needs and budget. Do your research, read reviews, and don't be afraid to ask for recommendations. Remember, when it comes to clean water, it's always better to be safe than sorry. A good water filtration system is an investment in your health and well-being, and that's worth its weight in gold, or should I say, clean water. On to the next item. Now, it's really time to take care of business. I mean, real business. In the wild, we don't always have the luxury of a porcelain throne. Out here, we've got to be resourceful, and that's where the composting toilet comes in. This ain't your granddaddy's outhouse, though. A real composting toilet is not just a hole in the ground. It's much more than that. These systems use natural processes to break down waste, turning it into valuable compost that you can actually use to fertilize your garden. Talk about turning a sticky situation into a positive. When choosing a composting toilet, consider the size of your household and the ease of emptying and maintaining it. Remember, proper sanitation is crucial for staying healthy in the wild, or even just living off the grid. Trust me, a bad case of dysentery is about as much fun as wrestling a badger in a telephone booth. So invest in a good composting toilet and keep things clean and green. We've tackled the essentials of water and, well, waste management. Now let's talk about staying warm. Out in the wild, fire is your lifeline, and it's no different when you're living off-grid. A A reliable wood stove is like that trusty old friend who's always there to warm you up on a cold night. It's not just about heat, it's about cooking your food, boiling your water, and even creating a sense of comfort and homeliness in the wilderness. Picking the right wood stove is a lot like picking the right backpack. You're going to want to get something that's sturdy, strong, and fits your exact needs. Consider the size of your living space, the type of fuel you'll be using, and the features that are important to you. Remember, a good wood stove is an investment. It's going to keep you warm, cook your food, and even become a focal point for your off-grid life. So choose wisely and always remember fire safety. We've talked about filtering water, but what about those times when you're out in the wilderness and need to source your own H2O? Well, that's where rainwater harvesting comes in handy. It's like having your own personal spring, supplied by Mother Nature herself. Now, rainwater harvesting might sound as simple as putting a bucket outside, but trust me, there's a bit more to it than that. A proper rainwater harvesting system involves collecting the water from your roof, filtering out any debris, and storing it safely for later use. The beauty of rainwater harvesting is that it's a sustainable and relatively inexpensive way to supplement your water supply. Plus, rainwater is naturally soft and free from many of the chemicals found in tap water. Of course, you'll want to make sure your system is set up properly to avoid any contamination. But once you've got it up and running, you'll be surprised at how much water you can collect from just a little bit of rain. All right, so we've got our solar panels soaking up the sun's rays like a gator on a riverbank. But what happens when the sun goes down or old man winter decides to blanket the sky with clouds? That's where our battery bank comes in handy, acting like a big old energy reservoir. These batteries store the electricity generated by our solar panels, ensuring we have power even when the sun ain't cooperating. It's like having a backup generator, only quieter and without the need for smelly diesel. When it's time to choose a battery bank, yup, size matters there too. You need enough capacity to power your essential appliances through the night and then some. Think about what you absolutely can't live without. Lights, fridge, maybe a little sump pump if you're in a damp spot. Remember folks, in the off-grid world, self-sufficiency is key, and a reliable battery bank is the backbone of a self-sufficient power system. It'll keep your lights shining bright and your spirits high, even when the going gets tough. We've got shelter, we've got power, now it's time to talk about the grub. Living off the land is a rewarding experience, and nothing beats biting into a juicy tomato you've grown yourself. But before we can reap the rewards, we need the right tools for the job. First things first, you'll need a good set of gardening gloves. Trust me, you don't want to be wrestling with thorny bushes or digging in rocky soil with your bare hands. A sturdy shovel, a rake for gathering leaves and leveling soil, and a hoe for weeding are all essential tools for any off-grid gardener. And let's not forget about the seeds. Choose a variety of vegetables and herbs that are well suited to your climate and soil type. Tomatoes, beans, squash, and leafy greens are all great options for beginners. Remember, a successful garden takes time, patience, and a whole lot of love. But the satisfaction of growing your own food is worth every drop of sweat. Plus, nothing tastes better than a meal you've nurtured from seed to supper. All right, folks, we've covered the basics of off-grid living, power, water, and growing your own food. But to truly thrive in the wild, we need to think about sustainable sources of protein. That's where our feathered and furry friends come in, livestock. Now, I'm not talking about building a full-blown farm here. Start small with a few chickens for fresh eggs. They're relatively low maintenance, and nothing beats waking up to the sound of a rooster crowing and a basket full of freshly laid eggs. If you've got a bit more space, consider a couple of goats for milk and cheese making. Goats are hardy creatures, adaptable to various terrains, and their milk is incredibly versatile. Plus, they're natural climbers, which can lead to some very funny situations. Remember, raising livestock is a commitment. You're responsible for their well-being, from giving them shelter to ensuring their health. But think of the rewards fresh, homegrown meat with no chemicals. This can also give you a closer connection to the world and nature. All right, we're out here living off the grid, embracing the wilderness. But that doesn't mean we have to be completely cut off from the outside world. Just like knowing how to find food and shelter, communication is a vital survival skill. In an emergency situation where you really need help, a reliable way to call for help can be the difference between life and death. Now, you might not always have cell service buzzing away in your pocket when you're miles from civilization. That's why it's crucial to equip yourself with some alternative communication methods. We're talking about the heavy hitters here, the tools that can withstand the elements and keep you connected when you need it most. A weather radio is your best bet for staying informed about any approaching storms or emergencies. Look for one with multiple power options like solar charging and hand crank. Trust me, there's nothing sweeter than the sound of a person voice crackle through on the radio when you need help or sometimes just are lonely. And don't forget about two-way radios. These bad boys are essential for keeping in touch with your team when you're spread out, whether you're exploring the backcountry or just coordinating chores around the homestead. Remember, clear and consistent communication can make all the difference in a survival situation. So gear up, stay informed, and never underestimate the power of a good signal. We've covered the essentials for staying fed, hydrated, and sheltered in the wild, but even the most experienced adventurers know that accidents happen. That's why having a well-stocked first aid kit is non-negotiable. It's like having a safety net when you're navigating the unpredictable terrain of Mother Nature. Now, we're not talking about a couple of Band-Aids and a tube of antiseptic cream here. We're talking about a comprehensive kit that can handle anything from minor scrapes to more serious injuries. Think of it as your own personal mini hospital, packed and ready to tackle whatever the wilderness throws your way. Make sure you've got all the basics covered: bandages, gauze, antiseptic wipes, pain relievers, antihistamines, and anything else you might need to address common ailments. And don't forget to familiarize yourself with basic first aid techniques. Knowing how to control bleeding, treat a burn, or splint a fracture could save your life or the life of someone you love. Remember, in the wild, self-reliance is key. Being prepared for the unexpected can mean the difference between a minor mishap and a major catastrophe. So pack smart, stay vigilant, and always be ready to face whatever challenges come your way. So there you have it, folks. We've covered the essentials for living off-grid, from harnessing the power of the sun to building your own sustainable food systems. Remember, embracing this lifestyle is about more than just surviving. It's about thriving. It's about connecting with nature, becoming self-sufficient, and taking control of your own destiny. Now, when it comes to off-grid living, one thing's for sure: you can never be too prepared. That's why I always recommend having a good supply of long-lasting food on hand. And let me tell you, there's no better place to stock up than Survival Cave Food. We've got the best canned meats, freeze-dried meals, and survival essentials that'll last you for years, no matter what life throws your way. Use code YTV and get a discount on your order, and also get free shipping. Before you head out into the wild, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future adventures. Remember, the wilderness is calling, and I'll see you out there.